Hey, good morning, family. So, Reginald Martin of Kemetic Centered Living, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening. So, I'm out on my walk again this morning. So, I wanted to talk about a powerful idea about how do you recognize when your soul is communicating with you, or how do you recognize when your higher self is communicating with you. So, I use those two terms interchangeably because they basically mean the same thing. But your one of the things that we have to get beyond the religious conditioning and understand. I talk about Christianity not to necessarily pick on Christianity, but because that was my experience. Okay, so I've never been Muslim, I've never been Jewish, any of that, but Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all three of those have a common heritage with this knowledge and stuff that I teach from ancient Kemet. But my experience is as a Christian. Okay, so just saying that, I'm not trying to pick on Christianity. It's just my experience. But we were taught, in a way, in Christianity, that the soul is something, one, that you possess, and two, you can lose it, and three, you can only experience it after you die. Okay, all of that is like, wow. It ends up creating a barrier actually to helping you to really connect with your higher self. One of the other issues with Christianity that we're taught is that we are spiritual in spite of the body. Okay, in other words, living life and being in the physical is a detriment to being spiritual. Okay, which again puts us at odds and puts us in conflict with our total and holistic being. So, one of the things that I do in my Metaphysics Soul Level Operating course is to help you get beyond that old programming and show you where it comes from, and then how to apply the new knowledge. So that's what I'm doing here with this. So how do we connect with our soul? And the way I want to do this is through some ideas that you've probably heard, but you've never really connected the dots to what's going on and what's happening. And those two ideas are when you experience deja vu and when you experience synchronicities. Okay, so this is a way that your soul is communicating with you, that a lot of times you have to recognize. In the case of deja vu, it happens and it's so natural to us that we don't always recognize it. We have like a what is this, but we don't always recognize what's happening. So I want to help you to recognize what's happening and why it's such a good thing when it does. And synchronicity is helping you understand how time is only a construct of our physical brain, linear time. So in other words, one day, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and it's all going forward. But in reality, from a soul perspective, time does not exist, okay? Only as a marker for experience. And what I mean by that is like the ancients recognized that idea, and a lot of times they would talk about the wheel of time, or something in that to that effect, where you would see like a wagon wheel, and then you have this hub in the middle, which represents you, the soul, and then all these spokes going out in all directions. So you're always in the middle of that experience as a soul. Okay, but each spoke represents a timeline. Okay, this is important to understand with deja vu. So what happens with this is you're actually tapping into soul level experience when you do recognize deja vu. It happens all the time, but we don't recognize it all the time, or we simply just dismiss it. Okay, But deja vu is the idea that you've been there before, okay? Or there might be something that you're happening. And family, it can be really mundane. It doesn't have to be like a major life experience. You could be brushing your teeth, okay? And while you're looking in the mirror, all of a sudden you just have this feeling that, man, you've been here before. You know, this has happened before, okay? The same thing that you're doing at that moment, that split second, has happened before. And that's deja vu, okay? So that's a soul level experience. Your soul is actually, you've actually recognized through your physical mind a soul level experience. And what's happened when you're dealing with deja vu is that you come to an intersection of a timeline that you had been at before, and now you're making a shift to another timeline. It's a positive thing. And it usually happens when you are growing, just personally, personal development wise and spiritually wise, you are growing. And what's happened is that you shifted from one timeline to another. But the deja vu is like a fork, okay? It's like a fork in the road, or in this case, a fork in time. So when you have that happen, that's recognized that that's a soul level experience. But it is so common. And again, a lot of times we're waiting for God to speak to us, or say something to us verbally, or, we only categorize these experiences in one way, and it ends up limiting our ability to recognize when we are actually receiving information, guidance, and whatever it might be, okay? So that's what's happening when you feel that, man, this familiarity with being in that spot at that moment. You just shifted timelines. You came to a fork that you had been at before, and then you shifted, and now you're going on to another timeline. So for me, that has always represented something positive. That's how I've characterized that. For other people with another belief system, it might be characterized as something negative. It can be, okay? But it's based on what you believe and how you want to believe it. Because if you shift to a timeline and you see it as positive, you're going to have a positive vibration about it, and you're going to go on and shift and realize the positive stuff that can come from it. Okay, is that making sense? So let me know in the comments if it's making sense to you. I appreciate the feedback, because I know a lot of times these ideas can be they can seem kind of convoluted. But that's what's happening. So understand that your belief and your vibration is going to characterize whether or not that's positive or negative, okay? But understand what's happening. So it is something that's happening. Don't dismiss it. You've been there before, and now you're taking another fork in the road, so to speak, okay? With synchronicity. And again, this is all based on the idea that time only exists in what people call today the era of time, because we only recognize it going forward. We only experience it going forward. But there is obviously a past, present, and future. And the ancients, again, they recognized the eternal now, and they would symbolize that as a wheel. So you're in the center of it. No matter where you move on that wheel, you're always in the center as the soul. Okay. So synchronicity is a very, very powerful way to understand when you're on the right path. Okay. And again, this is the way I characterize it as something positive for me. All right. And but what it is synchronicity, and I'll just define it for you. So synchronicity is when you actually take your physically focused linear mind and connect the dots to an idea that is outside of time and space. And I'm going to explain that. So, and I'll use an example, and it even happens a lot when I'm walking on this trail, is that for me, a cardinal, the bird, the red bird, is a form of a synchronicity for me. Whenever I see that red bird, then I know that vibrationally, that is a signal that I'm on the right vibration, or I'm headed in the right direction. Okay. So, in other words, I could have a thought that I could have in my mind, or I could be talking about something or whatever. And when I see that bird fly across my path, that red bird, that cardinal, then that's the signal for me that, yeah, Reginald, you're on the right path. Okay, you're right about that. You know, so that's a truth. You know, that you're experiencing, and that's what synchronicity is. Understand, synchronicity is totally and completely subjective. Okay, somebody else might see the red bird and be like, "That's an annoyance," you know. But that's because of their experience of it. But these are ideas. Synchronicity is a completely subjective thing that if you want to recognize it as a truth for you and guidance, you can. If you don't, you won't. But understand that both synchronicity and deja vu are connected to soul level experiences. With synchronicity, you're using logic to intuitively connect something for you, okay? So every time you see the cardinal, for me, every time I see the cardinal, then I know vibrationally I'm on the right track. I'm on the right path, okay? So it's just a small little signal for me. So again, it's not something that's major. It's not a major upheaval. It's just little nuances that you notice. But you're using your logical mind to connect the dots to something that's outside of time and space. In other words, you can see the birds 2 days apart, but they're connected vibrationally. Okay, so when you see that bird, if you saw it yesterday, and then you'll see another one today, then that means that vibrationally you're on the same wavelength. Whenever you see them, those two events or two instances are vibrationally connected. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Again, let me know in the comments, you know, that makes sense. But those are two very powerful ways to recognize that you are getting soul level communication, or that you're in tune with it. And hopefully what this will allow you to do is, if you hadn't before recognized synchronicities or recognized deja vu, that you'll be able to start to recognize it. And when you do, when you recognize for the first time a deja vu, let me know. Come back to the comments. Let me know. Because what's going to happen is, and this is what we have to understand when people are teaching and talking about ideas, a lot of times you don't even recognize it, or you don't even think about it until somebody brings it to your awareness. This is why it's so important to recognize what kind of ideas and information that you're accepting into yourself. Because if you constantly turn towards people who promote negativity and fear, it's like they're planting seeds in your mind that end up sprouting in other different areas of your life, okay? That's the possibility that is there. So here, I'm planting a seed of soul level operating system and how it works, that hopefully that seed can grow within you and create a positive effect in allowing you to understand your guidance, okay? So, but all of it again, and I'm always going to come back to this, all of it again is connected to vibration. is connected to vibration and frequency, because that is the organizing principle. So with the synchronicity, understand that what I just explained to you was I associated two different events in time by vibration. Okay, that's what connects them. Okay, you having the ability to understand that vibrationally those two events are associated, and when you recognize that, you're peering beyond time and recognizing the meaning to you vibrationally. Okay, so that's another way of just simply understanding you are a vibrational being, and the universe is organized via vibration. Okay, so a very powerful tool again, but it's recognizing that you are a soul having a human experience, and you cannot lose your soul because you're here. The soul has projected you into this reality. You are in the soul. The soul is not in you. Okay, so and you cannot separate the body and the soul. It's all weaved together. Cells, organs, everything. That energy, that light, that is you as a soul. S-O-L, that's the Latin prefix, S-O-L, soul, and S-O-U-L, just both of them mean light, sun. Okay, so what you are is a being of light having a human experience, and those two things cannot be separated. When that being of light, or when that light leaves you, that's when you're done with this particular existence. Okay, so again, synchronicity and deja vu, family, powerful stuff. I hope that makes sense for you. So again, leave your comments and tell me about your experience with it. And I'm going to continue on my walk, and you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Okay? All right. Bye-bye. Reginald Martin out.